soul brother. Right about now, funk soul brother. Right about now, funk soul brother. Check it out now, funk soul brother. Right about now, funk soul brother. Check it out now, funk soul brother. Right about now, funk soul brother. Check it out now, funk soul.
I like that part of that song. You're like all pumped up and it's like Sorry, I didn't mean to growl at all of you.
Yes, she did.
Welcome back to Heart for the Community on heart4radio.com. We are broadcasting live from RMC Studios in Los Angeles, California on the Punch It Radio Network. Quick shout out to our executive producer, Larry Witherspoon.
Hi, Larry.
Our lovely engineer, Miss Kiki.
Hey.
Hi, Kiki. And a quick shout out to a couple of our sponsors, advertisers. We have Paul Davis Emergency Services of Temecula and Marietta. And I always turn it over to Catherine because she gives them a better shout out than I do.
Well, Paul Davis does 24-hour emergency restoration. So if you ever find yourself in the middle of a fire, flood, or anything of that nature, you can call Paul Davis 24/7 and they will be there to take care of you.
And they are on Facebook.
Yes, they are.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
So we, before we went on break, we were kind of talking about, Damega brought us back to the kids and, that it's not the kids that are going out and buying the groceries and doing all those other stuff. They're following the lead of their parents or some other adult figure.
Right.
And I wanted to give Eliza a chance to kind of weigh in on her thoughts.
I definitely agree with the basic premise that certainly the parents are the leaders and the role models in the family when it comes to being healthy. I also want to point out that we can't ignore the biological aspects and the biological challenges that these kids are facing as well. So, for instance, I had these parents calling and saying, and this happens more often than not, I have two kids who are rail thin and can't put weight on to save their lives, and I have the one kiddo who just can't seem to lose weight, right? So there's the same food in the house, probably the same, relatively the same type of parenting style, and you have the one kid who's really struggling and the other two who are not. So the reason I point that out is because there absolutely is a biological predisposition to being overweight. Now, that doesn't take the onus off the parent or the child to make the right decision, but in comparison, if you're looking at a child who is not overweight versus a child who is overweight, it is likely that that child who is not overweight is engaging in some of the same, and I say some of the same behaviors that the overweight child is. For instance, we talk about, kids who are overeating or they're picking the wrong choice, they're picking the wrong food, or perhaps they're engaging in emotional overeating. It's not that kids who are not struggling with weight are not doing those things, but certainly their biologies do not lend them to gain weight like the kids who are predisposed. So we can't ignore the biological factors in that. And it is absolutely true that within the same family, some kids will struggle, some kids will not biologically. So I think it's really important for, just like Damega was saying, I think it's very important for the families to provide every opportunity for activity, every opportunity to make a healthy decision in the home. You're right, the parents do the grocery shopping. It is absolutely their responsibility to put the right things in the home. It's absolutely their responsibility to provide opportunity for activity. But also, if needed, I think the parents need to go that extra mile above and beyond. If a specialist is needed, if some type of intervention is needed, it absolutely can't be ignored because this problem will not go away on its own. I think doctors used to think that kids would grow out of it, right? He's 11, and, still growing, he'll grow out of it. Kids are not growing out of it.
Right.
Because if we don't address the problem, if there is not some type of intervention or treatment, it will get worse.
Well, not only that, how connected to you if your child is overweight and you are in shape? How connected to your child are you?
Right.
See?
Yeah, and I think that's where that biological predisposition comes in. Certainly the parent might have a different biology, but also it is your responsibility as a parent to pay attention to that child who is struggling, right?
And if you change, as a parent, if you change your mind, you change your body. And so if your child is connected to you and you're in shape, you have to change your mind for that child, because obviously they're a child. And they're, you can only be tempted with what you like.
Yeah.
You see? If it's not something you like, you won't be tempted. And that's just something that little kids, I've seen kids as far as, and I mean basically babies, as soon as they start walking and the parents are obese, and for some reason they think it's cute for the child to be obese, and not to discredit nobody's baby or nothing like that, because babies are beautiful. But if you know that your child or baby is overweight, because if your kid is going to preschool, that means that they have a chance to be bullied, ridiculed, all the things that start with being emotionally depressed. Start as soon as they get around other children.
Yes, so true. And what about the schools? I mean, you bring up a good point. What about the schools? I know that's been a big push, and the different things. They used to have vending machines, and they've changed that. Again, how do those things kind of mesh in the discussion with childhood obesity and the parental behavior and things like that?
Fruits. Give them so many fruits that they just act like fruit is candy. Fruit. Live food.
And you know what, too? I also think that you have to nurture your child's relationship with food. It is a relationship.
Right.
And it can either be a very unhealthy relationship or it can be a healthy relationship. So as a parent, speaking for myself, having a 2.5-year-old, we can go by the soda aisle, and my son immediately will point at the particular brand of soda because he knows what it looks like, and he knows the brand logo, and he'll say, that's bad for me because it has too much sugar. And I'll say, that's right, Daddy. So I'm creating a relationship with him when it comes to sugar and too much breads and complex carbs and stuff like that, because that is my responsibility as a mother to create a healthy relationship with food. I think once that relationship is broken, then we get these type of situations that happen. Would you not agree, Eliza?
Absolutely. I mean, it absolutely starts with the parents, and it's not too early ever to foster that healthy relationship with food. And I think I think we overemphasize the meaning of food, right? We put all of these, there's all of these social norms that come along with food. There's birthday cake for birthdays, and there's, hot wings for football parties, and there's, whatever, eggnog for Christmas. Those types of things tend to create nostalgia, and they're not all bad, but there are other ways to create meaning to special events other than food. And as a society, it's our responsibility to start to change that mindset, especially as 2/3 of Americans are considered overweight or obese. The people who are living a healthy lifestyle are in the minority. So we need to shift something, right? Something needs to change.
I think there's several things that go into that. I mean, I think you start, even from a human development standpoint, we start with rewarding kids even as infants, as babies. You go potty train, we're going to give you a cookie or give you something like that. Or if you don't do A, B, and C, I'm going to take away your dessert. And not that that's good or bad, but you're creating a relationship with food inadvertently, because by rewarding the child for good behavior with food, then every time they do something good, then they're entitled to, as you guys are pointing out, go out to eat, reward themselves with a sweet or a snack or whatever. But, how many times do you do that? And then when you take it away, it's kind of on the reverse side of it. You know, you get depressed, so you do the emotional eating or the stress eating, as we talk about. And so, again, we're creating those relationships far into infancy, subconsciously, or not even being aware that that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You know, one time someone told me that he was on a really great weight loss plan. He was charting his food and so forth that he was eating. At the end of the week, he said that he went to a restaurant and he had a steak and he had dessert and he had a beer, and we were all in the room. We were like, yay, you know, you've been so good this week. Good. You owe it to yourself. And he got so angry. And he said, I had a paradigm shift. And we were like, what are you talking about? And he said, I sabotaged myself.
Right.
I worked so hard that week, and then I sabotaged myself. Instead of saying, I worked so hard this week that I'm going to have, you know, a really great protein shake and throw another apple in there, or to honor myself and celebrate my good work in a different way. But why do we do that? And we all do it. We always say, well, at least have a cheat day, and we're already sabotaging ourselves. And it's so true, Catherine. We do it from the very beginning.
The creator of obesity is called acceptance. It's just bottom line. Whatever you accept as being in shape or being out of shape, it's just what you accept. It's what you accept for your child. If you accept that they're overweight, you see that they're overweight, you don't have to wait for people to say, hey, you know, your child is overweight. You have to do more monitoring. You can't say, hey, I don't see him eat this or I don't see him eat that. What you mean? How is he getting this way then?
Right.
See, everything falls back to the parents.
Yeah.
Bottom line, that's who I'm blaming. I'm going to always blame them. Until these kids are in absolute shape, it's the parents. It's not the community. It's not the teacher. It's not this. It's not that. It's the parents. You can work out in the house. The same way that you can work out outside of the house, the same way you expect your kids to learn things when they go to school, the school expect the kids to learn things when they're at home.
True. So how do you motivate the parents? Because I think that becomes the deciding factor. I mean, I think...
Threaten them.
Threaten them?
Yeah.
Does that work?
Yeah, it's going to work. Tell them God going to get them if they don't get their kids right. No,
See you chasing some parents around.
No, you got to bottom line. You just got to let them know. Let them know all the repercussions behind dealing with childhood obesity, the diseases, the things that's attached to it. And if that doesn't scare them, then we've done all we could. We've scared them and give them a workout regimen.
Right.
And you give them a nutritional regimen, and you make sure that they stick to it. You know, they should have counselors that make, just like people check in with drug counselors and things. You should have obesity counselors.
Right.
People call and check in and see how did that kid do last month. You know, did he gain weight? Did he lose weight? See, people don't believe in monitoring that because of acceptance. It's politically correct to call a child that's overweight anything but an overweight child, but that's not what children call him.
Right.
They don't understand what politically correct is.
Right.
So you get back to the emotional part, which starts with the parents. If emotionally you can't see what's going to happen to your child, then you're at fault. The child is going to do what they emotionally do. You know how kids are. You know when you was a child, when the one that would always get picked on.
Right.
Ain't nothing changed. It's the same kids, except they're kids.
Right. I want to take another quick break and then come back with Eliza, and maybe you can share what some of those health risks are and those impacts are on the kids who are overweight and obese. So we are going to break with Britney Spears and Womanizer.